Welcome to Mama's Priceless Parties. Today, I'm going to show you how to personalize your invitations for mobile devices using the Sweet Treats theme. First, we're going to click on the electronic version for mobile, which is also located in the YouTube description box below. When we click on it, a new tab appears showing the invitation that I made in Canva. We're going to click Use Template. This will automatically redirect us into Canva if we're signed in. If not, sign in now or sign up for your easy-to-use design software system. It takes minutes. You'll notice that this invitation just starts with a background, and that's because different elements come in at different times throughout the invitation. So at the bottom, we're just going to take a look here, and I'm going to show you how the videos work. So first off, it's going to be page 1, page 2, page 3, etc. And for each page, it has a time at the bottom, which shows you the amount of time that those elements will come through. Now let's personalize this invitation with your specific party details. So we're going to go to the last page, which is page 10, and we're going to go in the center of it and click on it. Now it will show the design for page 10. Let's start with changing the name. So we're going to hover over Charlotte and double click to highlight it. And in this example, I'm going to use a shorter name. So I'll use Mia so that we can see the changes that can take place. So let's change it to Mia. And I'm going to now resize the text box. And how I do that is there's this, as I would call it, it's like an oval rectangle. And I'm going to click and I'm going to drag to the left just to resize the text box. I'm going to click off of Mia. Now I'm going to click back onto Mia, and to resize it, there are these 4 circles in the corners. I'm going to click and drag, and I'm going to increase it to right about there, and I think that looks great. Now the other thing, I think it should move to the right a bit, so I'm just going to move it a little bit right about there. And I think that looks great. Now, if you do make a mistake or you, like for example, let's say you took it way over here and you're like, oh man, what am I going to do? To get it back, you can literally click and move it, or you just come up here in the blue bar to this undo and it'll put it back to where it was. So it's very easy to use Canva. Next, we're going to go to the number. So in this example, I'm going to do a double digit. So I'm going to highlight it, and then I'm going to put 12. Now you can see the text box is not wide enough, so now this one we're going to increase the size of the text box. Again, we're going to come to this oval rectangle and we're going to click and drag to the right just until 12 is on the same line. One thing I can see right away that I don't like about this is that the 1 and the 2 have quite the space in between them, and it's too big for my liking. So how we change that is we come up to this top bar and there's this spacing icon. We're going to click on it. But unfortunately, in this instance, it's actually covering the 12. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click off for a second, and I'm just going to move the 12 down. So let me click off of that because I stopped editing it. And now I'm going to click and drag it just so that it's down here. And I can, my biggest thing is I want to see the spacing between the 1 and the 2 here. Now I'm going to click on the spacing and we can see both. We're going to go to the letter spacing and we're going to click and move it to the left, and we'll see that it gets closer and closer. And I think that's a lot better than what it was. So now I'm happy with that. Now let's put it back on the heart, and you can see that it's a bit big for my liking. So again, I want to resize it. I'm going to go to the corner, click and drag to decrease the size. Now I'm going to click and drag and just move it to its spot. And sometimes I find that the mouse will not put it exactly where I want it. So there's a couple things we can do. Number one is we use the arrow keys on your keyboard, and that will move it just a little bit. Or the other option that I find is if we increase the view, then it allows us to sometimes do a smaller incremental move, whereas before it didn't. Okay, so I think I like that. The only thing that I would suggest in this scenario is that the rotation is not as much as I would like it to be. So we're going to change that, and see these arrows here? we're going to click and I'm going to drag it to the left just to alter, and I think that's a better rotation. I think that looks much better. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom back out because I want the overall picture of the invitation. So let's go back down here and zoom out, and I think that looks great. Okay, the last thing that we need to change is the party details of the day, the place, the time, etc. So you'll just go in and modify those as you would need. So let's say this is Sunday, July 10th, and it's going to be 12 to 4 p.m. at Mia's house, etc. You would just go down and go through all the information that you need for your party details. Once you're finished, now what we need to do, this is the end page, so we're not done quite yet. We have to go through, and these pages before have the detail of when the name comes in, when the age comes in, and when your party details come in. So we need to actually take this design and put it to the other pages. All right, so let's start with the name. We're going to take Mia and we're going to click on it. We want to copy it, so Control C. Then I'm going to go to the page before, which is page 9. I'm going to click on Charlotte. I'm actually just going to delete it with a delete or a backspace. Now I'm going to do Control V, and it should put it in the exact spot that I had the previous page. Okay, now we're going to do it to page 8. Same thing. So we're going to click on Charlotte, delete, Control V, and likewise with page 7, click, delete, Control V, page 6, delete, Control V, and then page 5. One thing to keep in mind now with page 5 is that this is the very first time that the name appears. So when we click on it, Charlotte, you'll see that it has this bounce animation that none of the other pages did, because the name comes in with a bounce and then it just has to stay consistent. So it cannot have an animation for the rest of those pages. But on the initial page, it has to have that animation, or else it's not going to, it will just appear. It's not going to come in with a unique style. So one thing to keep in mind is that it is bounce. So in this situation, we have Charlotte highlighted. We're just going to delete that. We're going to add Control V, Mia. But now the difference here is we're going to come click animate, and then we want to find bounce, which is right here. We're going to click on it. I only want to animate on enter because otherwise it will remove it. If you have it on both, it will remove it before that next page and it won't be as fluent. Okay, so now the name is done. Now we're going to go back and do the age. Let's go back to page 10 where we already modified and click on 12. Again, Control C to copy. Go to page 9, delete the 9, Control V, page 8, delete, Control V, page 7. Oh, and look, do you see how the 9, this is when the 9 appears. So we want to come to the end of that just so that the 9 is already there. And again, we're going to click on it and we see that the animation is stomp. So we're going to delete this 9. We're going to do Control V. And now we need to do the same thing. We're going to animate it. And this one was stomp. So we just need to select stomp, which is down here. Stomp, and on enter only. Okay, click off. And now we have that. The only other thing I believe, let's see, so page 10 and page 9. So your party details are only on page 10, so you don't need to change anything. Once you are finished with this, what I would suggest doing is take this bar to the very beginning and play through it just to see that everything is working properly and that there are no issues. Okay, so let's play this through. And that looks great. And the reason I have the extended time frame at the end of the invitation is that it allows your guests to read the party details for a longer period of time because it's more information that they need to read. Okay? Once you've watched the invitation and you're happy with it, the next step is changing the invitation name. So we're just going to come up to the blue banner. We're going to click on it and then just highlight copy of Sweet Treat. And I'm just going to replace that with Mia's. So Mia's birthday party invitation mobile, hit enter, and now you've changed the file name. Next, we're going to click share in the top right corner. Then we click share link to watch. It'll provide us with a link and we're going to copy that. Now you can send that via text to all your party guests. One thing I would suggest is providing an intro with that link. So for example, let's say you're inviting Isabella. So you would say, Isabella is invited to Mia's birthday party. Please click link below. That way there's an intro to the link. They know it's legitimate, it's not spam, and they'll actually click on it. I hope you've enjoyed making this invitation with me today and that your invitations and party are absolutely priceless.